the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Up the Cherries in all departments, our raw reaction show. And of course, we've done the double over Southampton, and of course we beat them 3-1 at St Mary's the other day. Saints fans, welcome to the show. Cherries fans, remember, hit like, subscribe. You're all welcome here as well. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a reaction show without one man. And let me just bring him in. There we are. Zoom out. And that is Mr. Matthew Harrison. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, Craig. Yep. Definitely all good after the weekend. So yeah.
Oh, big smiles on our faces. Big smiles on our faces. And we will have a Southampton fan that will be joining us very, very soon. So do get ready for that. But yeah, going into this game, I was pretty confident from the start, wasn't you? It was, the run up to the match. It was like, I've never been so confident going into a football game before. And it's not, I feel really sorry for Southampton because I actually wanted them to stay up. I know people go and say, well, we want to see them go down, ha, 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 ha. It's not like that for me. It's that it's the M27 derby. It's just great. And, we like those sort of games rather than, a team up from up north. Big hello to Malcolm. Hello, Malcolm. Good to see you. And thank you so much for the lovely email, actually, that you sent the other day. It really means a lot to me and Matt. So thank you so much for that. So, what were your thoughts going into this game whilst we do wait for our Southampton fan?
Well, yes, obviously I wasn't as confident with the goals as yourself. I think I predicted 4-0 if I remember rightly. But overall I was very confident going into the game, and I don't think you could not be, really.
Excellent, good stuff. Well, our Southampton fan is with us here, and it is a pleasure, and it's lovely to see Yasmin. How are you doing, Yasmin?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, all good, and lovely to see you. We saw what we spoke.
Is it really?
Well, the last time we spoke, didn't you beat us? I'm sure you beat us. I'm trying to think back.
I think. Oh, I'm just trying to think now. After I spoke to you, was that because we beat you 1-0 away, and then I think we done the double on you, and now you've done the double on us.
Yeah.
But you done it better.
Oh well, we've got to get into it, Yasmin. I'm so sorry to be. Have you kind of consigned yourself to relegation?
Yeah, like back in November, just like any normal Saints fan. I think it's just been atrocious this season. Like, Obviously we were relegated, been there, done that. But this season alone, it's just dire. It's absolutely dire. And you can see from the amount of points we've got so far, it's so frustrating. And it's actually really, really disappointing being a Saints fan. Like, any ounce of hope that anybody had, and I'm as optimistic as the next person. Like, I love a bit of like, what, we could win this one. Like, today is our day. This season so far, I'm like, nah, like, it's not happening. You can just feel it all around you. Like, before the game, there's no real big build up to it. There's no confidence. There's nothing. Then the team news comes out and it's like, why are we here? Honestly. And then obviously, the team come out and you're like, you know what, let's just see what happens. And then most other teams score within about 2 minutes. And then it's like, right, now what? And yeah, it's really disheartening. Really, it's really bad. And like the amount of Saints fans, including myself, that feel so disconnected from the club right now, it's just, it's genuinely really sad. Like, I've been a Saints fan forever, and I've always followed them, and I always go home and away, and I have done for the last, I'm really going to show my age now, for like 20 years I've been going home and away. So I have seen, I've seen some really good times, and I've seen some really shit times, to be honest. We have been relegated. Well, I've seen us be relegated 3 times now, so I get it, but this just seems like it's the worst out of them all.
Yeah, no, I can understand. And like we was just saying, I'm absolutely gutted that relegation is going to be on the cards. We know that. We'll get into it and go through it, but I am absolutely gutted that you're going down, because I like the rivalry. It's not a nasty rivalry, it's a friendly rivalry. Deep down, I think a lot of Bournemouth fans like Saints, and a lot of Saints fans like Bournemouth. Yeah, there's a bit of banter, isn't there? But hey, that's part of football, isn't it, really?
That's the thing. Like, I'm all for a bit of, like, all for the banter, and like, I know there's quite a few fans trying to build like this whole derby rival thing, and it's like, let's be real, like, it's not a derby. Like, there's only one derby in Hampshire. We're not going to name them because they smell of fish, but we know who they are. And obviously you guys, you've got, I don't know who your rivals are. What, Poole Town or Alton or
To be
something?
honest,
So
I can't
you've got your own rivals. You don't need us.
I think we're trying to make one, because we haven't really traditionally had many rivals, to be honest. But and a lot of our rivals now are crap, aren't they? So you got to think at the end of the day, Southampton aren't crap because we're actually taking a real interest in it. But I tell you what, let's get stuck into this and drill down. So, Yasmin, when you saw the lineup on Saturday, what did you make of this?
I'm just going to remind myself so I can just feel a little bit of depression come in. Yeah. Well, when you're seeing like a lot in the midfield, you're like, okay, like, what are we aiming for? Because the ones that we've got up front, like, we don't have a striker. So I'm no football manager, clearly. However, to win games, it needs to be on an equal playing field. So you need to have a striker.
Yeah.
You need to be scoring those goals to win the points. Our highest goal scorer is a fucking defender. So like, what were we playing at? Like, obviously ignoring I don't know how I'm going to word this. Right. So ignoring the fact of like Jurić, obviously he's come in and he's not done very well the last couple of games. He is new to it, whatever. But he's been given crap, and there's only so much he can do with crap. Like, he's not going to make a Messi out of bloody Sulemana. Like, if he could, that'd be great. So if he is listening, do that, and then hopefully that little bit of faith of us staying up could work. But it just seems like it's a bit of a monopoly, and maybe all the players have got their names in a hat, and then he just picks them out before and just goes, right, there you go and play a bit of football for however long, 50 minutes, 60 minutes until I take you off. Like, have fun. I don't know what the thought process is. I don't know what kind of tactics he's playing, because he said initially he wanted to play like aggressive football, but then we don't see the aggressive side of it. And obviously with Russell Martin, it was very tippy-tappy, always going backwards, and it was all possession based, which you don't win games with possession. Like, if we did, well, I reckon we would have won the league, because all of our possession was always, bloody 70% or something stupid. But how many points did we get? Nothing. I don't know what else to say about it, because I think every time I just look, you can just pinpoint and just go, you're all frustrating the hell out of me at the moment. Apart from Fernandez, I love him. I think he works his socks off, and he is brilliant. Rambo as well. Like, I think he's an amazing goalkeeper, but equally he's only as good as the men in front of him. And if they're not doing their jobs theoretically, then he's against his own team as well. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I've got a question here from Malcolm. Do you feel the midfield was too light?
Too light? We've got 5 of them in the midfield. How many more do you want? 10? Yeah, like, I think the thing is, you know, we've been very blessed in the past with, you know, our midfielders, like Romeo, like being one of the, like, he was amazing. Like, we've never fully like replaced him, and I think that is the problem with Saints. Every time we have a really good player, they don't, you know, get someone else who's gonna have that potential and more. They just get someone just to fill the gap, and they tend to go for quantity rather over quality. That's what I find with Saints. And you know, it's come to bite them in the backside, really, like the way they've handled business the last couple of years. It's
Matt, back to Yasmin's question. What do you make of that Southampton lineup?
Myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think really they're I don't think I'd have played that formation against us anyway. Let's put it that way.
Agree, 100%.
If I was having to face a Bournemouth side, I don't think I would have played it quite like that.
I would have done a 4-4-2. Probably.
Yeah, for something. Yeah. I think so. I just think as soon as I saw the lineup, I thought, you know, we've got a good chance here of you know, getting past their fullbacks. I mean, this is an interesting question. This is what I asked myself when I first saw the Southampton lineup. Is why was he on the bench? He come on. I thought, you know, the little time he was on, I thought he was quite impressive. But yeah, I mean, for me, I just wouldn't have played this formation, I don't think.
Yasmin, Diblin is one of the. He's a player that a lot of teams want, and Jurić is a man under pressure, you know, from the get-go, because of the position, because of the form, because of the results. He's not got a tune out of this side. Some good players in this squad. But why is he not playing his best player? Because personally, I think Diblin is without a shadow of a doubt the best player in the squad.
And he's also the youngest. I think with Diblin, where he is so young, he's still building up, like he's building up his confidence against all these big sides that he's never had to play before, and he's showing like what a dream he actually is. But also where he is so young, you don't want to be playing him for 90 minutes every single game, because he would be prone to injury, and you don't want to injure someone who's so young and then be out for however long. But I don't know, because the thing is, we know how good he is, and you know he's just going to get better, like without a shadow of a doubt. He's going to get better. Is he going to get better at Saints? I don't know. But then we've had players go to other teams and then they sit on the bench, they don't do anything. So I don't know if that kind of has a factor over him, like, you know, do I go somewhere else, play 90 minutes like every single game or however long? I don't know, but I don't know why he's not playing him. The same with Bella Kotchup. He's been on the bench, well, forever now. So we don't know what's going on there. And yeah, he seems to pick certain players over others, like, and we genuinely don't know why. Obviously, we don't know what happens at training. We don't know what happens like behind closed doors. But to me, like, if I was the manager, like, ignore any kind of like personal differences that you have. You're there to do a job. They're there to do their job. So get them playing. I don't care if it's school kid behaviour. Fucking get out there, go and play, go and win some games. But evidently we're not doing that, are we? So
I completely agree with you on Bella Kotchap as well, because I think he's a very, very good player.
Mm.
You know, it's no surprise that Fraser's nowhere near the squad, though. But I tell you what, let's move on to the
Oh
Cherries
yeah,
lineup.
yeah. Let's look, shall we?
Yeah. Matt, what did you make of this?
To be honest, I wouldn't have suspected us to have lined up any other way. The pleasing thing from the team announcement was the extra couple of first team names on the bench in the likes of
Yes.
Scott and Sinistera, which was quite nice to see. So gave the bench a little bit more depth. But yeah, not surprised with the lineup. Obviously, he's not going to change anything because obviously, we're performing and we're winning games. So yeah, no real surprises. But yeah, it was just pleasing to see the depth on the bench.
Yasmin, no changes from Bournemouth. We've apart from the Liverpool defeat, we've been consistent.
Yep.
Were you fearing the worst when you saw this?
I think even before I saw the lineup, I was like, I wasn't confident at all, because the way you guys have been playing this season has been incredible. Like no one can say any different. Like, it has been amazing. And if you do go to Europe, like, again, that will be absolutely insane. Actually, can I mention one thing about if you go to Europe?
Go on.
Do you know whose stadium you'll potentially be using?
Oh, this has been, yeah, it's been.
Could you imagine? We're all going to Europe. But
Well,
yeah. So, well, yeah, I wasn't confident before the game anyway, because I was like, right, if you're playing the way you're playing against your Liverpools and things like that, then God, like, what's going to happen to us?
yeah.
I did actually put a cheeky bet on as well. So, and I did win. So I was that's how confident I was in us losing. But yeah, and then I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, here we go. And we know who's going to score. We know what's coming. And no, like, fair play to you. Like, that's all I can say. I'm not going to try and be really bitter about it or anything. It's just, you know what, you played very, very well and you deserved it. Better team won.
Well, let's talk about that first half, because it didn't take long before Dango got on the score sheet. Matt, was you surprised to see him bag another goal, considering how he's been playing?
Yeah, no, not surprised on him scoring. Obviously, we'll look at the two goals in the first half in a bit more detail. But in terms of the first half from Bournemouth's perspective, yeah, good start. I mean, again, I think we had a corner within the sort of first 20-30 seconds, didn't we? So
Yes.
yeah, again, just the high press, fantastic as always. Standout moments in the first half. I mean, Brooksy, I thought he had a good game, to be honest. I thought defensively, they say, defense starts with attack, and he was winning the balls in attacking positions, which really did stood out in the first half. Cook disappointingly took an early booking, which I thought was going to be, it's never easy for a fullback to take an early booking, I think.
Agree.
And he took a booking, didn't he? And I thought that could cause us a bit of trouble. Same as Smallbone, I think for Saints, I think he took an early booking as well, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, but if he came off, that wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. I was expecting better of him, but I think he's only just come back from injury, hasn't he? Is that right?
Yep, that's right. And yeah, you should have.
Because I liked him in the Championship last year. I thought he was a decent player.
Yeah, so did I. I agree.
But yeah, obviously, if he's not had much game time, I'm sure he's lacking match fitness. But yeah, I mean, Dango, I mean, he was unlucky, wasn't he? Cookie put a great ball into the box, and he headed wide. But yeah, I mean, for the first goal, which we'll talk about in a minute, obviously, there's credit to another player there as well. But yeah, I mean, early possession for Bournemouth. I mean, I think the stats were saying at the time we had about 66% possession within sort of like the first 20 minutes. But I thought we had more, to be honest, watching it. But yeah, overall, the first half for us, I think, was very, very comfortable.
Yes.
And defensively, what stood out for me as well is Zabarnier's tackle. Now, Fernandez has picked the ball up in the midfield.
Mhm.
He's run into our area, and I think he's put a pass in. Has he put someone through? And he's put in a wonderful slide tackle, last ditch tackle, perfectly timed. I think that was really Saints' only real attack, really, wasn't it, in that first half? But
Pretty much.
yeah, overall, yeah, pleasing first half. But I think from our perspective, the talking points are really more the goals.
Yeah, no problem. And of course, let's go on to that Dango goal. And that very, very cheeky goal, but I thought, it- you know, he's been playing excellent football recently. And what did you think of this goal, firstly, Matt? And then Yasmin, we'll come on to you and find out what Saints or who was possibly at fault for conceding it.
Well, just very quickly for myself,
Mm,
and I'll let Jasmine talk from the Saints' point of view. But Dango, I mean, it's such an attribute, him
yeah.
as an aerial threat, isn't he?
Hmm.
And but credit to Christie. I mean, Christie would talk a bit more about him later on, but
Unbelievable.
what a ball into the box, and just
Yeah.
for Dango to get that glancing header and just enough on the ball just to take it past Ramsdale. I mean, a lot of credit there is for that cross into the box from Christie, really, for me. But yeah, as an aerial threat, I mean, he's fantastic, Dango, and you can see why he's leading the line.
Yeah.
In some respects, no disrespect to Ivan Nilsson, we all want Ivan Nilsson in the side because he is an out and out striker. The way he presses defenders and goalkeepers and stuff, he's absolutely fantastic. But at the minute, this man is definitely filling that void. Another great performance on Saturday. But for me, the cross I just thought was beautiful position, absolute precise.
Yasmin, do you feel that anybody could have done better or should have been doing better to stop Dango getting that header?
I think that one. I need to remember now if it was that one or the second one or the third. I think Jan Benneret was at fault for the first one. I think. I don't know. It all happened so quick, and where that was isn't far from me as well. So I get to see, a lot of, well, I say away goals, but yeah, that was right in front of me. And then he done his little celebration, and then the second one as well. So it was just, I don't know, like this is like PTSD going through all this. You know that, like.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to forget about it. I'm like, you know what? You got your 3 points. That let's move on. But now I'm like, oh god, I'm reliving it. I'm getting angry again.
Yeah, I think, Malcolm, you've hit the nail on the head there. Dango did get between the two defenders. Both
Was
of
it
them
Jan? I
lost
can't
it.
remember now.
I'm sure it was, yeah. Yeah. And really, somebody should have been tracking him, gone with the man. Look, this ball is coming into a good area. And it just seems, and we'll come on to the manager and what he's telling them in training and why it might not be working. But yeah, personally, great header, great cross. But then again, could they have done so much better? And then it was only 120 seconds, believe it or not, Matt, before we were celebrating a second one. And this was a beauty. This was a beauty.
Obviously, Clive, he's intercepted I think a poor pass really from the Saints. I don't know if it was one of the defenders, but he's intercepted the ball and given the ball to Christie. And I mean, Christie, if you ever watched him play for Celtic, you'll see that he scored many decent goals for Celtic. And that's probably something he's lacked a little bit in a Bournemouth shirt. But credit to him, absolutely fantastic finish, nice and low. Ramsdale, no chance of getting that one. But yeah, no, good finish, really pleasing because his performances, and like we'll discuss a little bit later on, I think have been a bit overshadowed this season. But yeah, another great performance and really deserved that goal. So I don't think really, unless Saints, from Saints' perspective, whether they probably should have closed the player down a bit quicker. But obviously, their downfall was our was our goal. So but happy days.
Yeah.
All the goals were avoidable, all of them. But no, what was with his celebration? Did it mean something? I don't know what it meant.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I joke behind it or something, because I was like,
I don't.
I'm not too sure, if I'm completely honest with you, but I did notice it. I did notice.
Okay.
Well, if somebody knows in the comments, do leave that afterwards or during this live, because it's quite interesting actually what it might have meant. But let's go on to this second half. And Matt, you've got a bit more to say about this second half, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean the second half. I'd say what stood out for me second half. But Walker Peters, from Saints' perspective, stood out for me in the second half. I think
brilliant.
Defensively he's sound, and I also think his delivery of the football's pretty decent as well. I mean, I can remember a couple of balls going in, and if Saints could have attacked it in the air, they may have had maybe another opportunity at goal. Semenyo, fantastic tiptoeing around those Saints defenders, and obviously he's had a shot at goal, and Rambo's just got a hand to it. But he was just tiptoeing around the Saints defenders for fun for that one. I think Christie's was it the second half when Christie had a header and Rambo just managed to claw it back out.
Yeah, it was.
That was
just
the second
tapped
half,
it over,
wasn't it?
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I thought our corners on Saturday weren't the best deliveries we've done this season. But yeah, I do remember from that one, Christie being very unlucky that and fair play to Rambo. He obviously, he managed to get a hand to it. It was quite interesting to see that the linesman having to go off with an injury. Because the guy that actually
they had enough. They went, the Saints are boring.
Probably wasn't giving them enough to do. But no, it was quite funny because the guy that actually came on, I think he refereed the game the night before. But I might be wrong. I think he actually refereed. Was it who played the Friday night? Was it Chelsea?
Yeah, it was Chelsea versus Brighton. Brighton hammered them.
Yes, yeah. So it's quite. It's always funny when you have to see a change of referee or linesman. But this is Southampton. I think there was kind of a spell during the sort of between 65th, 75th minute where Bournemouth's intensity dropped a bit, and it kind of let Saints come into the game a bit more. And I think it was around that period Saints did get their goal, and to be fair, their goal was well taken. Can't pronounce the player's name. What's his name?
Sulemana.
Yeah, I thought his goal was well taken. But yeah, I mean, after we did concede, I would say there was a bit more urgency from us. It kind of woke us up. It was probably the little bit of a kick we may have needed to pick up that intensity again. But yeah, I mean, Tabs, he loves a goal against Saints, doesn't he? So I was surprised obviously that he popped up with one. But Kirkes, I could just remember shouting, shoot, shoot, shoot. He's bolted into the box with the ball, but unselfishly he's pulled the ball back across. But by then our attack had already moved I think our attack was in the 6-yard box and he's pulled it back. Yeah. I think even the two forwards were expected him to take a shot there. So that was a little bit frustrating because I think he'd done all the hard work then. It was the same, it didn't pay off. But yeah, I mean, Kepa, I think Archer, sort of the last sort of 6 minutes when the fans that were still there started to pour out as soon as that 6-minute board went up. I think Archer kind of tested Kepa a little bit. But other than that, really, apart from that sort of 10-minute spell where we kind of did lose our intensity a little bit, I think deservedly, obviously, we were deservedly winners. And yeah, unfortunately for Saints, yeah. But yeah, in fairness to Saints, like I say, second half I thought they looked defensively stronger as well a bit.
Yeah.
And like I say, during those 10 minutes, yeah, I think they we let them sort of get back into the game. Zabani again, I think there was a clearance as well in the second half. Clearance with his head, fantastic clearance he made with his head. So yeah, I mean, like I say, apart from that sort of 10 minutes, we would deserve the win anyway. But yeah.
Well, Yasmin, of course, that Sulemana goal and that period of time, that 10
Yeah.
minutes, you did look pretty good. And I think this kind of indicates that there is some good quality in this Southampton side. What did you make of Sulemana's goal? And do you honestly
Um,
feel that, maybe it's a case that there is that quality, but it's not being utilised right?
it's exactly that. Like we do have a lot of quality players,
Yeah.
but just the whole team formation and how they're working together but against each other, like it's not working. Like Sulemana, like he's a great player. He's got huge
Mm,
potential. But I find he can be very selfish with the ball. Like he
yeah.
likes to do his little tricks and do what he wants to do, and that's fine. But
Mm,
with these types of games, when we could have brought it back a bit more. But like where I sit so close to the front, like I'm loud anyway, but like they can hear me. There's so
mm,
many times I'm like shouting like what to do. Like we can see it. Like so it's like,
yeah.
like pass it to him, pass it to them, like do this, do that. And he likes to take on like 86 players at a time. And I'm like,
Mm,
what are you doing? Like I reckon we could have like had a bit more, but it just wasn't meant to be. Yeah, his goal was great. That was in front of me as well. And like then he was like shouting at people, like, come on, like cheer for us. And it's like,
mm,
you know, a football game is 90 minutes. It's a game of
yeah.
two halves. And Saints tend to come out in the second half for about 20 minutes. And then it's just like that's all you hear in interviews a lot of time, like, oh, second half they played well. Or oh, for 20 minutes they played well. And it's like, well, no, that's not good enough, is it? Like if it's 90 minutes, you need to be playing well for at least 80.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there's loads I can say about the game, but equally it's just there's a lot more negative that I can say about Saints than anything else at this point. But you guys have just been like I've already said, just so good, so good. So you like every single Cherries fan should be fucking proud. Like
Oh,
honestly, like
it's
you should be
unbelievable.
absolutely buzzing.
Oh, honestly, Yasmin, it's unbelievable. And sorry to remind you of this. Of course, it was 10 minutes later after Sulemana's goal. Southampton had given themselves the lifeline. They got themselves back into the game. And then Marcus Tavernier has shot a lethal one. Of course, he does like scoring against Saints. He did score in that last game at St Mary's. Towards the end of that season when you did go down. That was a pretty special goal, really, wasn't it?
I was being nice to you guys then, and then you had to just go and ruin it and
I'm
just
sorry.
we already know you won. We know you got the point. But yeah, like we knew it was coming. We
Yeah.
felt it coming, and like you guys just decided to come out of like second gear and you just went for it and it was like boom boom done. And he scored great and I was just like, I'm out of here now. Like a lot of people just left.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I never leave games early, but I think a lot of fans now are just so frustrated. Like, we were not coming back from that, and don't know, there's just something at the moment, and I was just like, no, might as well just go now. Like they've won. No, God, I sound miserable.
No, I can understand it. I completely understand it. But this is the stats and the player ratings. Aaron Ramsdale, absolutely no surprise that he's top of your ratings. No surprise who's top of ours either, to be honest. But do you think that they're fair? Do you think that there's some that should be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, Yasmin?
Just trying to see. Duh, 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 duh. I would have probably put Carl Walker-Peters up a little bit because
Mm,
I think he's been great. Like even though we've been
yeah.
playing poorly, he always gives 100%. And I really want Archer to. I really want him to have more game time, and I think I think he'll be a bit of a dark horse, to be honest. But then we'll see what happens in the championship. But yeah, I think they're all pretty fair. Bennett can go down the bottom. Yeah. I'd pretty much agree with that.
And Matt, what do you make of ours? There was no doubt who was going to be man of the match in this game.
Yeah, I mean, for average, ratings across the game, I would say they're pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say everyone pretty maybe, Zabani for his couple of last ditch sort of tackles and that you put in, maybe score him a little bit higher. But no, in terms of everybody else, I would say it's pretty fair scoring, to be honest. And yeah, like you say, not surprised with the man that's at top.
And Malcolm said, Christie, my man of the match. Completely agree. And Rambo was brilliant. Without him, it could have been very embarrassing.
I
And
agree.
he did hook out that. To be honest, that ball was almost all over, but it was
Oh, it was
very, very
literally,
close.
It was
literally,
literally like that.
That small, wasn't it? It
yeah,
was.
if not smaller. I mean, he was very, very unlucky, Christie, not to have that header. But
Yeah.
yeah, he did manage to literally. It must have literally the amount of the ball that weren't across that line. But hey ho, hey ho.
Well, let's go on to Ryan Christie, and we've sung his praises throughout, so we won't spend too much time on this. But he is really the unsung hero at AFC Bournemouth. But he is like that glue. He sticks everything together. He works his socks off. He's 120% man. You never see him put in a bad shift. I can't think of a bad shift. Tell me if I'm wrong, Matt, but I can't think of a time when he's had a bad shift. And then he puts in a performance which excels above everything else. He's already doing really well, but then puts in the performance like this that over exceeds everything else.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. And he's always been one of my favourites since we signed him. And a lot of people do forget. He is a winger. Officially, and he's obviously been converted into this sort of holding midfielder. But I mean, he battles every game. He's always up for a tackle, and look at the delivery he can do from that kind of position as well, which obviously set Dango up for the first goal. But not only that, he's currently out of Europe's top 5 leagues. He has made the most ball recoveries.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, his stats are there. He's having a phenomenal season. But just sometimes I think he gets a little bit, overshadowed by the likes of, Clivert, who's been phenomenal, Semenyo, phenomenal, even Nilsson when he started scoring, and, Dango. There's a lot of players
Yeah.
in the squad, and same with like Lewis Cook, who's been playing right back, who's traditionally alongside Christie. So, yeah, he's probably a bit unsung this season, but you can see why. But yeah, I think we definitely do give him the plaudits when we can.
And Yasmin, these three players, really did shine. So, of course, Rambo we've talked about, Sulemana and Walker Peters.
Yep.
Are you concerned with relegation? Of course, Rambo has been relegated a couple of times. Of course, once with ourselves as well. But are you concerned of these players leaving in
100%.
summer. Yeah.
100%. I think Rambo will go. Carl Walker-Peters will go. Suleiman will go. Potentially Tyler Diblin. I'm not sure how it's going to pan out. Like, I don't know if the club are going to try and make him stay, for a year or two, get the experience there, get the game play.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I could see him maybe going because, at the end of the day, money talks. I can see potentially Flynn Downs, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, maybe even Wood, Fernandez. I think he'd go. I'm literally naming the majority of our team. So, yeah, I think it's going to be very worrying times. And I truly don't believe at this current moment that when we go down, we will not come straight back up. I really don't. Like, even though last season, and I'm going to sound like I'm trying to take it away from everyone, which I'm not. Like, last season, obviously for us, it was amazing. Like, it was just the best atmosphere, and going 25 games unbeaten, 31 including all the cups and things. But it still wasn't plain sailing. It wasn't easy, and I think we were just very lucky getting in the playoffs and Leeds not turning up. I don't think, because realistically, we should have been in autos for that, but we weren't. So yeah, I don't want to take that away from anyone and be really cynical and just the moody Saints fan that I am at the moment. But yeah, I don't think we're ever going to have a season like that ever again. And I think people's expectations, because last season was so good, I think that's what they're expecting again. And I need to keep saying to people no, we need to be realistic now. That was a fluke. It was a great fluke, but it was a fluke.
Well, I'm going to jump forward a little bit because we was going to talk about the managers and what they said, and we'll come back to that in a moment. But of course, relegation, you think is pretty much nailed on. And to be honest, as much as I hate to say it, because I love this derby, it's the friendliest derby in football. I think let's be honest, 9 points is not good enough. So the big question is Ivan Jurić the man to rebuild Saints and get them back up and stabilise them as a Premier League club? Yasmin, go on. Give us
No.
the reasons why.
I think, well, he's already got it in his contract, a get out of jail card, theoretically. If we get relegated, he doesn't have to stay.
Yeah.
So instantly, if you wanted someone long term, because it's been on the cards since Christmas, if not before. We were probably going to be relegated. You wouldn't put something like that in your contract if you genuinely wanted someone longer term to build your team and to get you back up.
Yeah.
So I think the club are just putting a bit of a safety net there, going, well, if you want to stay, you can. That'd be great. If not, we're going to have to look for someone else. But I think you need someone that has championship experience, without a doubt. And, with Russell Martin, he had the experience, but he was very set in his ways. And as a manager, you have to be adaptable and you have to be accountable. And he wasn't those things. So I think you need to find the best of both worlds. You need to find a championship experienced manager, or even a Premier League manager that's, obviously not in the Premier League right now, and see if they want to, not start from the bottom, build themselves up again, but see if they're able to, have that kind of challenge. It's very difficult. It's one of the most difficult leagues to get out of, for sure.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most enjoyable, to be honest. And I don't want to rub it in your face, but there's not any VAR, so very excited about that. Hate VAR, hate it. I'm surprised we didn't really have VAR at the weekend.
Well, exactly.
I
And
am
one
surprised at that.
question here from Malcolm as well, before I let you go, Yasmin, what are the issues at board level? Of course, Sports Republic, I did discuss
Mm.
this the other day, but it seems like an absolute mess. These guys, they have got money, haven't they? They've got
Yeah,
money, but
yeah.
they've got no direction by the looks of things.
I think the thing is, like, Rasmus Ankerson, he put out a statement. Was this last year? I think it was last year or the year before. No, it was the year before, sorry. And he had basically said, like, if it's not broke, consider breaking it. And then all of a sudden, like, it kind of snowballed with Saints, and we ended up getting worse and worse. And it's like, because we've got other, like, I don't know what they're calling them, but we've got like a triangle scheme where we've got obviously Gastepe, which is our like sister club,
Yeah,
and Rasmus keeps paying more attention to that club at the moment. They're doing really well, so fair play to them, but not paying any attention to Saints. So I don't know what his intentions are, because to me, like, if you're a business person,
yeah,
you're actually, in my eyes, you're failing. So I don't understand how you can say you are a good businessman. And with the board, it's a case with them, like, you're either businessmen or football men. You're not
yeah,
both, and they're not both. And they're trying, obviously they have had success, otherwise they won't be where they are. But at the moment, nothing's working. And I think with board level, they don't speak to the people it really affects,
yeah.
which is the customer, which is us.
Hmm.
And I've spoken to the board plenty of times. I speak to the club on a regular basis. Like, I have meetings with them a lot. And that's one of the things that we do say, like, we're giving you like front row seats of like how we feel. And even with, like, the whole living crisis and things like that, how football affects people, like, not just financially but mentally. And
Yeah,
people use this as an escape, right? And football, you get your 90 minutes, if not more. You could be with your friends, and you can be with your loved ones and whatever, and you can just forget about the world. But at the moment, if you're in a really bad place and you're going to watch that, it's not helping anybody. But with, board level, I don't actually know what's going on, and I don't know what will go on. I think Dragan Solak wants to be a bit more in the front seat and control it a bit better, and I think he will. I'm not sure what he will do. I don't know if he'll be working side by side with Phil Parsons. I don't know. I wish I could say more about it, but I don't know what's going to happen. No.
no, fair
That was
enough.
a lot of waffle for not actually answering a question. Sorry.
No, no, no. Honestly, it's an honest answer, and I can, I totally respect you guys for that, and it's got to be so disappointing. I know that we're sat here and we support a very very well run club, a club that has got a real direction. We're getting these youngsters in, and Frano is bringing youngsters in, and they know exactly what's going to happen. They've probably got succession planning for if Ariola leaves. And at Saints, it just doesn't seem like that. And Saints have got, without a shadow of a doubt, probably one of the best academies in the whole country.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really does show. But yeah, Yasmin, I know that you had to go within 45 minutes. Sorry we kept you a little bit longer,
No,
but
it's
it's
all
been a
right.
real,
I've
real pleasure.
enjoyed it. I've
Yeah,
enjoyed it. Consider it like a therapy session.
no doubt we will speak to you very, very soon as well. But no, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem at all. Our pleasure. And I'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Take care. Bye
Bye.
bye. There we are. So that's Yasmin's thoughts. We will just cover off as well what the manager said after this game as well. So let me just bring up what Mr. Iriola said. So let's make it full screen. Here we go. So, Andoni Iriola, I have to make it full screen because my eyesight's not that brilliant, so I have to read it. So, reflecting on the result, Iriola told the Echo, I feel very happy for the points, for the win, for the performance. You know what I think? I don't care if it's because of the goal average. We are 5th or 6th or 7th. Right now, we are on 43 points. That is a good amount for this moment of the season. But I'm more concerned about keeping this performance level as long as we can. That will put us in a good position at the end. On Saints working their way back into the game ahead of their goal and asked if his side had perhaps got too comfortable in the game in the second half, Iriola said, I think not a lot of minutes, but the previous 3-4 minutes before the goal, we're starting to look a little bit more disjointed. The second balls, we were not winning them. Probably we haven't made the fouls at the beginning of the play. And we knew as long as we didn't score the third one, you concede one goal, the atmosphere changes, they put you under pressure, can become dangerous. But luckily for us, I think we scored quite early. Asked about the potential European qualification being a reality for the Cherries. Now, Iriola said, no, I think we're far from there. A reality would be at the end of the season. Unfortunately for us, it's not, and we have to continue performing well. If we continue performing well, we may have a chance when there are 5-6 games remaining, and then we are fighting. So right now, we're still in the process, still more than 1/3 of the league to play. So we focus now in the next week. We have a very important week, 3 important games, and definitely not farther than this. Matt, he's sitting on the fence still, isn't he?
Well, he's got to, isn't he? He's got to be
Yeah,
professional at the end of the day. At the end of
yeah,
the day, he's got to keep his players level as well, grounded. There's no good
yes.
getting carried away. Look, we've got every chance of achieving this. And if it
Mm,
means, it means he's got to stay professional. And, it's down to the fans to dream about it. And the players need to be professional and do the job on the pitch. And Iriola is the leader. And if he come out and said, yeah, we've got every chance of, in Europe, being in Europe, I think, we've got a good chance of being there. Are the players going to take the foot off the gas? He needs to keep them ready. He needs to keep that intensity on the pitch, and he needs to do everything in his power to do so.
mhm.
And by comments like this in the press, he's being a true professional. The job's not done. We haven't
Agreed.
got that accreditation yet where we are going to be playing European football next year. So from his perspective, the job's not done. It's down to us to dream, and for them to get the job done.
It's
So I think he's absolutely spot on with what he's saying there. And that is why he's a good manager.
yeah, most definitely. 100% agree with every single word you said there. Although I will bang on until the cows come home about it. So Malcolm's just said this as well. And hello to Paul from Oz as well. Good to have you with us. And thank you for the lovely comments. Malcolm said, I like his statements. Take one game at a time, feet on the ground all the time. Talking of Europe is coming from the fans and the media. Let's wait and see.
Spot on. Spot on.
Yeah, you're spot on. Yeah, I know I'll keep going on and on and on about him because I'm a
The press,
dreamer,
the
but
press, the press will speculate about it because obviously the season we're having. The
yeah.
fans like ourselves will dream about it because we're in touching distance of it. But they've got
Mm,
to stay professional and they've got to get the job done. So plus they're still in the FA Cup as well. So there's still a lot of things to play for. And it might be coming towards the end of February yet now, but we've still got March, April to go through the business ends of the month, the business ends of the season,
mhm.
until we get to May. So yeah, look, Malcolm's absolutely spot on with that.
Well, let's find out what Ivan Jurić said. So he said, not good in the first half, much better in the second half when we play good. We push more aggressive in everything, but it was a really poor beginning of the match. Juric reflected. It was not good. We were bad. I have nothing to say. First 20 minutes, we were really bad. the second half is how I want my team to play. My teams always play like this: lots of aggressiveness, stealing the ball, even controlling the match, scoring a goal. We create other opportunities, but it wasn't enough. I appreciate the will they have. They never give up, but we have other types of problems. And in this moment, what we give in the game is not enough to take the points. When asked about Kamel Dean's goal, of course, Silamana. He's a great guy, great quality. I think he can do really well. Today, he scored a great goal. He was dangerous all the match, and I'm very happy with him. I'll have my say on this because I really feel for Southampton fans. I don't think he's good enough. I think I just don't rate him as a manager. I don't rate him as you've got to have that persona. Iriola's got that persona where the players like him. He's likable, he's jovial, but he's somebody that you can see, can really connect with the players. Eddie Howe was like that. I think Gary O'Neill was like that, maybe on a different scale. Scott Parker, probably not. Maybe that's why he struggled at this level. Jurić, I think he I just don't rate him. I don't rate him. I don't think he's got the persona. I don't think he's got the tactics right there. I don't think he set up right against us. It looks like he never watched us. And from a Saints, if I was a Southampton fan after this result, I'd be like, you're not watching the team that you're playing up against. You're not. We're in a nice situation at this moment in time where we can dictate the style of play because we are good enough to do that. Iriola's a good enough manager to do that. We've got to that point. Southampton aren't that. So what they need to do, like we had to sometimes under Eddie Howe in that first season, we had to adapt and make sure we could stall the opposition. And this bloke doesn't get it at all. Doesn't have a clue.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't totally disagree with what you're saying there, but at the same time, not defending him. I mean, who cares? I'm not a Saints fan,
Yeah,
so I'm
exactly.
bothered. But I mean, in defence of the manager, I mean, he's come in at an awkward time. I think
Yes.
probably Saints held on to Russell Martin for too long,
Agreed.
knowing full well he wasn't going to change his philosophy of football. Like Yasmin said, tip a tap football. He wasn't going to change how he played. So, you're probably right. He's probably not the right man for the job. But in his defence, he's been very honest with what he said, his assessment of the game. And he's taken over an impossible job, hasn't he? Really, let's be honest. Where they were in the Premier League when he took over, not even some of the best managers in the world would get them out of that. So
No.
I think he's been handed an impossible task. But yeah, I do understand your points with what you're saying there. But at the end of the day, I don't really care.
No, no, I can understand, but I would have liked to have seen him stay up.
Yeah.
It's
It's like, I
that
totally
local
agree with
rivalry.
that. Yeah, I do agree with you on that one. It would have been nice for them to stay up. It's not a rivalry like them in Portsmouth,
Exactly.
And I think they were described at the weekend. I was reading somewhere in the press that Southampton see Bournemouth as their little brother. So, I mean, yeah, it's a shame that they're going down. But yeah, I'm not gonna cry over it. But yeah.
Paul from Oz has hit the nail on the head about Iriola. It's got special man management skills to get the players performing at this level. The players love him and will play for him. He's got a great personality. And completely agree. 100%. Completely agree.
But not every manager has that persona. So we're very lucky, and our players are very lucky that they've got the guy that they've got because, he's hit the nail on the head there.
Definitely. Well, before we wrap up, let's talk about this. So, Cherries' chances of Europe after Saints win, and it's for the Champions League. It's saying 28.42 to qualify for the Europa League. 21.13.
I think the probability of finishing fourth is
Mm,
rated at 33.8. So it's funny, there's stats there from quite a few places.
yeah.
But the probability looks to be getting better with each game that goes by, with each point that goes on the board.
Mm,
It seems to get stronger. I mean, some of the bookies have got Bournemouth odds at 5-1 to finish in the top four. So I think the probability and these percentages and that are changing week in, week out as we get more points on the board.
and I can expect them to go up even further this weekend because get a win against Wolves, which I honestly think we'll get.
Well, yeah, but I would just say I watched the Wolves Liverpool game yesterday,
Yeah,
and I got to say Wolves did impress me yesterday. I think they're a different animal now under their new manager than they were under
agree.
Gary O'Neill.
Yeah,
Um,
agree.
I'm not saying that we won't win the game, but they're going to give us a game. I think this game's more important to
Mm,
them than the cup game the following week. So this one's going to be the
100%.
trickier out of the two, I would say,
Yeah,
because they are still down there, aren't they? I mean, they're only just how many points are they above relegation now?
3.
Yeah, see, so I mean, I still think we'll win it, but they're going to
Mm,
give us a game. I don't think it's going to be quite the walkover it might have been sort of 3 or 4 months ago.
yeah, can't can't argue with that. I saw a bit of that game as well myself, and to be fair, I I agree with you.
Got to
They are,
keep him quiet up top. Um,
yeah.
what a goal he scored yesterday!
Oh
Lovely
yes,
finish. So
yeah,
he is
yeah.
definitely their danger man. So, but then
Mm,
when you look at how Barnier and Howson and the likes of Adams, Christie are all performing. They're the men that can stop him and cause him problems. So, which I'm sure they can. But
mm.
I just don't think I don't think I will be so adamant on a 4-0 win as I was predicted
No,
previous game. But yeah, I do see
mm.
Bournemouth winning, and I think it'd just be a closer scoreline.
And we could go fourth. We could
Yeah,
go fourth because if anybody's been doing their homework and been looking at this Premier League table, Bournemouth win, Man City have got Liverpool, and anything could happen there on that Sunday.
absolutely.
So we could, going into next week, be fourth in the Premier League, which would be absolutely remarkable. Paul from Oz has said every picture tells a story. Ketbeer loves it here. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if he stays. I wouldn't be
I
surprised if he stays
will.
if
Yeah,
Champions League football comes here. I can't even believe we're even saying that. And Malcolm said,
yeah,
just keep believing. We certainly will do because it's remarkable. But I completely agree with you. I think it's going to be a tougher game. And I stand corrected. It is 2 points. Wolves are above the drop zone because, of course, Ipswich drew against
ah,
Aston Villa.
yeah, big point, big point.
Yeah, it shows that these teams can get results against other teams. Let's just hope the Wolves won't be doing it on Saturday against us. But Matt, I think that wraps everything up. We're going to have loads and loads of stuff coming up. Hopefully, we've got a very special show that we should be turning up later on this week. But before we close off, do tell us about one of the interviews that you did.
Oh yes, last week I had the privilege of sitting down with John Bailey, AFC Bournemouth's Wembley goal hero from the 1998 Auto Windscreen Shield final. And he told us all about his career from his non-league days through to his Bournemouth days, his unfortunate injury towards the end of his career, and much more. So yeah, that's live on the channel now. So yeah, do please give that a watch. Like I say, it was a pleasure to talk to John, and it's a timeless interview, I would describe it as.
Wow. Thank you so much. And I'll tell you what, it really is a good interview. Really, really good interview. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, do go and watch that. If you've enjoyed the show, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell button below. It helps this channel to grow. If you're listening on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, good to have you here. do head over to the YouTube channel because you'll be able to see our lovely faces as well as hearing us. But until the next one, up the cherries, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.